If I could only have one mic in my home studio, there is no question that it would be... So many home studio producers are on a budget and aren't going to be buying a whole mic locker. Instead, you're probably thinking, I really only want to have one great sounding mic, because you also need to buy other things to improve your studio. And friends, I do have an opinion. Over the past year and a half, there is one mic that has basically become my ultimate go-to mic, and I really don't hear a lot of people talking about this microphone, but it's incredible for so many reasons. And yes, I have a handful of great mics like the Avantone CV12, the JZ Blackhole Series 2 mic, and some pretty decent mid-level mics as well, all of which I would recommend. But if I could only have one mic in my home studio, there is no question that it would be the Lauten Audio LS208. This guy right here. It's a mid-tier mic that sounds like $1,000+ mic, and the reason I recommend this mic so highly is because it's a large diaphragm condenser mic that handles audio in a way that is quite similar to a dynamic mic, in that it basically has the ability to cancel out audio that is not designed to be captured, but it still retains the clarity and crispness of what you'd want out of a condenser microphone. So it's the perfect mic for home studio producers who need a mic that has clarity but can also cut down on room noise and other qualities that you don't want to capture. This microphone right here is my JZ Whole Black Series 2 microphone, which is well over $1,000 of a mic, over twice as expensive as the Lauten Audio LS208, but you can hear all the reverberations in this room because this is a super sensitive microphone, like most dynamic mics. So it's obviously super obvious that I'm in my gear room, which has no acoustic treatment anywhere, and a lot of home studio producers are working in rooms that are going to sound like this. And this is now with a Lauten LS208. You do have to get a little bit closer to it because it's less sensitive, but as you can hear, we're not hearing nearly as much reverberation. Of course, we can hear a little bit, but not nearly as bad. So it still captures the crispness that I want, but it doesn't capture all the other stuff. So if you have a computer fan that runs like crazy, for example, this mic's gonna help tamper that down. I'm not saying it won't capture any of that stuff, but it's gonna be really great at cutting it out. Again, similar to a dynamic mic like the Shure SM7B. Beyond that, this thing just sounds good on everything: vocals, guitars, percussion, bass, and I've used it on everything, and it is the only microphone that is consistently set up in my studio that I never put away. It is always set up in my room, ready to go at all times. Whether I need to track a quick vocal or do a voiceover for a training video on my courses, or I use it a lot in these YouTube videos. I even use this mic to track a song in a literal coffee shop where there were coffee grinders and people talking around, and just listen to this. You don't need to worry, even though life's in a hurry. You can take a breath, just breathe on it. Yeah, that was done entirely with only this mic in a coffee shop. And that track I just showed you, that's completely raw. There's like no mixing on it yet. There is no way that most condenser mics will be able to do that and still maintain the quality of tone. And that's not even it. I tracked a single with this mic in the mountains outside using my car as the studio, and that track's on Spotify and sounds like this. This was the only mic I used. And I'm not being paid to say this either. This isn't a sponsored video, unless you decide to, of course, use my Sweetwater link to buy it, which you should. But I cannot say good enough things about this microphone. I have mics that range from $100 all the way up to $1,500, and this is the mic I consistently reach for on a daily basis. I'm not saying I don't use any other mic, because I certainly do, but what I am saying is that this mic is one that I would recommend to anyone who wants a high quality mic that has a bit of a budget and wants to have their go-to microphone that they always use. This mic also has more built-in EQs than most. You have high pass and low pass filters, which is really nice. I've tracked violin with this microphone and used the 8K low pass filter, and it really helps dial back the harshness of the violin, and it gives it a darker tone. And for vocals, I'm usually going to throw on a bit of a high pass to get rid of all that low end stuff, either using the 50 or 120 hertz high pass filter, which saves me that time in post. And I usually do the same for acoustic guitars. And not only that, but this thing can handle just a huge amount of volume. In other words, you can really push it without having issues with clipping. Using it on a snare or using it on a really dynamic vocal, it handles all of it with apparent ease. So what does it actually sound like in real world situations? Well, here's that vocal from my track Coming Back, where I recorded outside with the vocal soloed out without any processing on, completely raw. I'm coming back to where it all started now. I won't come back, I might get lost, I'm gonna come back. And here's what it sounds like with processing on it. I'm coming back to where it all started now. I won't come back, I might get lost, I'm gonna come back. So it holds up really well once you start stacking additional processing on top. The thing with cheaper microphones is they might sound okay with no processing, but the moment you start applying additional compression or serial compression, they completely fall apart. And here it is tracking acoustic guitars in that coffee shop where there's lots of things going on and it still sounds great. So if you want to check this guy out and grab it, use the link right here or the link in the description down below to my Sweetwater store. And if you want to hear how I actually use this mic to produce that track in the mountains, then check out this video right here. Talk soon.